Look, we need to get real for a second. You call yourself a nice person. You pride yourself on your patience, your big heart, and the way you always give people the benefit of the doubt. But let's stop lying. That's not kindness. It's a target on your back. Nice people are easy to control, and manipulators know it. They didn't choose you by accident. They chose you because they knew you'd apologize for things they did. They knew you'd feel guilty for setting a boundary. Think back to the last time you tried to stand up for yourself. I bet they said something like, "I thought you were different, I thought you actually cared about me." See what they did there? They turned your own goodness into a leash. They used your desire to be a good person to keep you quiet while they stepped all over you. Are you telling, you're still waiting for them to appreciate how nice you are? They don't appreciate it. They rely on it. They need you to stay nice so they can stay in control. It's time to stop being a nice person and start being a person who respects themselves. You already know this isn't working, you're just not ready to admit it. So, let's look at how this actually plays out in your life. You have this script in your head that being good means being quiet. You think that if you're just a little more patient, a little more understanding, they'll finally see your value. But all you're doing is training them on how to treat you. Think about the last time they blew up at you for something tiny. Maybe you were 5 minutes late, or you forgot to buy that one thing they liked. You didn't get angry. You didn't point out that they've been late every day for a week. No, you apologized. You smoothed it over. You stayed nice. And in that moment, they learned that your boundaries are made of paper. Are you telling, you actually believe your silence is a virtue? It's not. It's a green light for them to keep pushing. Look at the patterns. You find yourself rehearsing how to ask for basic respect in the shower, but the second you're face to face with them, you swallow your words. You don't want to start a fight. You don't want to be the difficult one. I've heard it all before. They look you dead in the eye and say, "You're so sensitive, I can't even talk to you anymore." And what do? You shrink. You spend the next 3 days trying to prove you aren't sensitive. You're doing the work for them. You're gaslighting yourself so they don't have to. Think about the holidays, or the weekends, or even just a Tuesday night. You're the one walking on eggshells, making sure that the vibe is right. You're the one checking their mood before you decide if you're allowed to be happy. You've become an expert at reading their face just so you can adjust your soul to fit their needs. You keep telling yourself that you're being the bigger person. But being the bigger person shouldn't mean making yourself smaller. You're not being patient, you're being played. You're holding on to the version of them that doesn't exist anymore, while they're holding on to the version of you that never says no. They aren't afraid of losing you, they're used to you staying. They know that no matter how much they push, your niceness will always act as a cushion for their bad behavior. You keep giving chances like they haven't already shown you enough. It's time to stop looking at their potential and start looking at your reality. Well, let's look at how this machine actually works. It's not a mystery. It's a design. A manipulator doesn't walk into your life looking for a fight. They walk in looking for a host. They're looking for someone whose niceness is actually just a lack of boundaries. And once they find you, they start the slow work of making your kindness your cage. Think about the dynamic. It's always a trade-off where you're the only one paying. They do something selfish, and you do the emotional labor of finding an excuse for them. You say, they've had a hard week, or, they didn't mean it that way. Look at what you're doing. You're literally doing their job for them. You're protecting them from the consequences of their own choices. And they love it. They benefit from your confusion because as long as you're busy analyzing why they're hurting you, you aren't busy stopping them. They'll throw you a bone every now and then. A little bit of affection, sorry, that doesn't lead to change, or a promise that things will be different next month. These aren't signs of growth. They're maintenance. It's just enough fuel to keep you in the car while they drive it into a wall. I've heard this one 1,000 times. I'm only like this because you make me feel so pressured to be perfect. See the flip? Suddenly, their bad behavior is your fault. And because you're nice, you take it on. You start trying even harder to be perfect so they won't have an excuse to treat you like garbage. But that's the trap. There is no version of you that is good enough to make a manipulator act with integrity. They don't respect you because they don't have to. Why would they change when they have a front row seat to you compromising yourself every single day? They see your loyalty as a weakness to be exploited, not a gift to be honored. Are you you think if you just give them one more year of niceness, they'll finally wake up and reward you? Look at the effect. You're exhausted, and they're energized. You're broke emotionally, and they're full. That's the calculation. They trade your peace for their comfort. They use your empathy as a roadmap to find exactly where to twist the knife so you won't walk away. They know that as long as you're worried about being mean, you'll never be strong. Look at another line they love to use: "You're the only person who truly understands me." It sounds like a compliment, doesn't it? But it's actually offense. It tells you that if you leave, you're abandoning a broken soul that only you can save. It's a weight they put on your shoulders to keep you from moving. They don't value you, they value your presence. They value the way you make their life easier while they make yours a nightmare. You keep calling it love, but it keeps hurting you. It's time to stop analyzing their why and start looking at your what. What is this costing you? What is left of you? They understand you perfectly, they just don't care enough to change. Look, how much longer are you going to keep this up? How many more times are you going to let them finish a sentence that starts with an insult and ends with you saying, sorry? You keep waiting for a sign that it's time to go, but you're standing in a room full of smoke and you're asking me if the house is on fire. It's been on fire for years. You've just gotten used to the heat. Are you you think they're going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly realize they've been treating a saint like a doormat? They won't. Why would they? From their perspective, the system works perfectly. They get to do whatever they want, and you get to stay nice and absorb the damage. They aren't confused about how to treat you. They are treating you exactly how you've taught them they can. Every time you choose to be patient instead of being honest, you are losing a piece of yourself. You're trading your future for a past that wasn't even that good to begin with. You're staying for the potential, while they're showing you the reality every single day. Look at your hands. They're shaking from the stress of holding together a relationship that only one person is in. I've heard this villain line more than any other: "You're the only thing keeping me stable, I don't know what I'd do without you." Stop. That isn't a compliment. It's a hostage negotiation. They are telling you that your life belongs to their stability. They are making their mental health your responsibility so you'll feel too guilty to ever walk out the door. But you aren't a stabilizer. You aren't a therapist. And you certainly aren't a cure. You're just a witness to your own disappearance. How long will you wait? Another 6 months? Another 5 years? Do you really think they'll change if you just explain it one more time in a slightly different way? They understand you. They just don't care. The moment you act, you take your power back. But as long as you're nice, you're just a passenger in a car someone else is driving off a cliff. You don't need more time, you need distance. Look, it's time to stop waiting for an apology that is never coming. You've been holding your breath for a "sorry" that actually means something, but you're just suffocating while they breathe perfectly fine. You don't need closure from them. Closure isn't something someone gives you like a gift, it's something you take for yourself when you decide you've had enough. The power isn't in their hands anymore. It's in yours. But you have to be willing to be the bad guy in their story to be the hero in your own. Are you telling you're still afraid of them thinking you're mean? Let them. Let them tell whoever will listen that you're cold, or heartless, or that you changed. That's just the sound of a manipulator losing their grip. You need to start drawing lines in the sand that aren't made of sugar. When they try to pull that old trick, the one where they say, "I guess I'm just a monster and everything is my fault," don't take the bait. Don't rush in to comfort them. Just look at them and say nothing. Let them sit in the silence they created. You don't owe them a soft landing every time they crash their own life. Reclaiming yourself starts with the word no. No, I won't explain myself again. No, I won't accept that tone. No, I'm not staying for this conversation. It's going to feel like you're breaking a rule at first, but that's only because you've been living in their prison for so long. You've forgotten what it feels like to have a backbone that doesn't bend every time they raise their voice. You don't need a plan that spans the next 10 years. You just need to make one decision today that favors you instead of them. Stop checking their social media. Stop answering the late night, "I miss you" texts that are really just, "I miss my doormat" texts. Reclaim your space. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your sanity. You're not being difficult, you're being done. This doesn't stop when they change. It stops when you do. The moment you act, you take your power back. And it starts now. Look, you can keep playing this game if you want. You can keep telling yourself that being nice is your greatest strength while it's actually the thing they're using to keep you in place. But the truth is already in front of you. You see the patterns. You feel the weight in your chest every time their name pops up on your phone. You know this isn't love, and it definitely isn't respect. Once you stop negotiating with reality, decisions become much simpler. You don't need to fix them. You don't even need them to understand why you're done. You just need to stop lying to yourself about what this really is. What you do with that clarity is up to you. If you decide to